streamlined, and I felt like there just weren't as many quests coming out that you had the option to do or not to do. And I guess less humor, more, I don't know. It's difficult to describe. One of the things that always attracted me to EverQuest 2 was the humorous element and the entertaining aspect of the quest lines. So even if a twist was predictable, it was still somewhat appreciated for the effort put into it, and I know that it was surprising for some people when the twist was revealed to a quest. So I think there's that element. Then there's the difficulty. I feel like the less challenging the game is to play, the less enjoyable it is. Now I don't know that that's a straight line. Obviously, if it was so difficult that it would be impossible or virtually impossible to do, that would clearly not be fun. So there's definitely diminishing returns on that. But to a degree, I think there's something to be said for a game having enough difficulty to make it challenging without making it so difficult that it's virtually unplayable. And I think that they had that pretty well defined in the early stages of EverQuest 2, and it was lost along the way. That being said, it was kind of a slow decline. It didn't immediately fall off a cliff like some things do, right? It just kind of petered out into something that became constant dungeon runs, constant grinding, not a lot of reward. And the reward that they were giving was like gear upgrades, and that has never been something that I considered important. And I think that I'm not alone here, obviously. Not everyone who's playing this game is interested in being at the top of their class in what gear that they have or something like that. It's not as relevant as I think the developers at that time thought it was, or even maybe that they think it is now. And there's nothing wrong with that playstyle if that's what you enjoy, but that was always available to people. If you wanted to go and be a raider, then you could go and be a raider at any point in this game. I mean, right now, people can go and raid on this server, even though we don't have to grind all day, every day in the same dungeons, and that's all there is to do. There's just so much more opportunity for people who want to do other things. Everybody has the choice of whether they want to go and they can do crafting, and at this stage of the game, crafting is still meaningful. You can still make weapons and armor that are viable for use. Yeah, they're not at the top of the well, in some cases they are best in slot for certain levels, but for the most part, you can get better things from other places for your character slots, but or for your armor slots rather. But they're very good. They're very reasonable to use. They're not instantly trivialized by the first drop that you get from the first named that you kill or something like that. You can continue to use the Mastercrafted for some time. So I think that at the time when this server is set, it's a lot more reasonable to be a crafter than it is on live right now. They tried to make crafters on live be a little bit more meaningful by putting in some of the crafting quests that they began to add later on. But unfortunately, I don't think that it was sufficient. And it seems like because crafters aren't necessarily interested in adventuring, to force a crafter to go and do adventuring like that is counter to what they would naturally want to do. So making the game less fun by forcing them to do a whole, I mean, quite a bit of stuff. Say, for instance, they were, a crafter only, and then they're being told, oh, well, you have to level up to, level 110 as an adventurer in order to continue along the crafting line. It's asking a lot of someone who doesn't like to adventure, and the same is true on the opposite end. To have someone who enjoys adventuring feel like they're forced to level up their crafting level. It's a hard sell. The fact that so many of us went along with it and did that is a testament to the fact that, in spite of everything, EverQuest 2 is still, in many people's opinion, including mine, the best MMO available. It's unfortunate because EverQuest 2, from the time period that we're set in right now on this server, is far and away better than the EverQuest 2 that you can go and play on live. So that's my 2 cents on all that. Not really sure how I got so terribly off track with that conversation. Tell you what, you don't give me any guidance, and I will just go absolutely off the rails. Ranting, It's a specialty of mine, I think. A friend and I were just discussing tonight the concept of time and whether, what exactly or in what ways time could be manipulated. And of course, my stance on that is that time can't be manipulated because it doesn't exist. And see, now I've gone onto this tangent here because I was discussing playing on Rants, and I think that's something that that I am prone to do about, like, time travel. I don't see there are a lot of reasons that I don't think that time travel is something that happens or that could happen. And one of those is that you can't manipulate something that doesn't exist. If you measure time as the amount change, or it's a relative thing. It's from your perspective, or from human perspective, I should say. And so it's just I guess a way to measure the amount of change that has occurred, right? So I don't really, I mean, I think that in order to go back in time, you would have to reset everything to the way it was. I mean, planets and, you know, whole universes would have to move. And I mean, you know, the cells in every body, it just seems, I have no idea how that could possibly be accomplished.
Hello.
And now, rather than ranting, I'm rambling. When what I should be doing is reading in preparation for sleep. But what fun would that be?
No, I haven't got to freeze or wicked or whatever.
I think I've gotten up to 9 followers on my Twitch account today, which is not insignificant considering that I started less than a week ago. I'm fairly pleased with those results. I don't know how that compares in the grand scheme of things, but I am satisfied with it, I'll say that. I'm going ahead and checking the guild bank, not guild bank, sorry, guild house depot for some food and drink, because I noticed earlier that I was completely out of food and drink. I replaced the food a little bit, but I didn't grab any drink yet, so I think I'll just get this stack of this creamed oolong tea. It lasts 1 hour and 30 minutes. It's not great. It doesn't provide any stats, but the only stats for the drinks are intelligence, stamina, and wisdom. Intelligence does Kipoerneke no good whatsoever. Stamina is, of course, helpful. And wisdom, yeah, sure, it has a little bit of help or usefulness to it, but I don't know that it's necessarily worth it would almost be a waste to use one of those when I don't have as much benefit as some do from it, and we have so much available in the depot that doesn't have those stats. So I picked some up for myself and some up for anyone I may be grouping with who doesn't have any food and drink. So I'm prepared in both regards, and shouldn't be caught in a situation where, say for instance, the healer is constantly out of power because they don't have anything to drink. Now I can just hand them something, so it makes life easier for everyone, and it's not that big of a deal to carry it around in my bags. I do often have trouble with my bags filling up because I have a tendency to want to hold on to everything. I've done a lot better on this server because I from the very beginning, told myself I'm not going to be hanging on to things that I could get rid of, because I know that I don't have room for that. So my bags have a lot in them. They're not as full as they could be, certainly. And I feel like it's worth the space in my bags to have that as a backup if it's needed. It's the same as carrying extra potions and poisons. Speaking of which, I think I recently gave my cure potions away to group mates in Stormhold. So I need to remember to pick up some more of those while I'm here as well. I always recommend carrying potions, especially cure potions, but there are also some nice maintained consumable auto-consume potions, and of course things like the Elixir Constitution, and Greater Essence of Clarity, which will keep you nicely in power when you think you are doomed. Not only that, there's another kind of potion. Let's see if I have, yes, okay. So the Greater Elixir of Transcendence, for instance, increases your maximum power for 15 minutes. So you can put that on auto-consume, and every time you have one of those for the next 15 minutes, you'll increase your maximum power. There's also one for maximum health. I don't know if I have them in my bags. Let me try to save this from destruction. There we go. Sometimes I get to talking and I don't pay attention to what I'm doing. Then I start losing some durability in the craft, and I become in danger of losing the pristine combine. But let's see here. I don't seem to have any of the elixirs that increase your max health on my person. But anyway, I recommend it. Carry around cure potions, carry around health potions, carry around power potions. You know, if you're a scout, carry around some poisons, obviously. I think most scouts are aware of that. There are also totems that increase your health and power regen. It's the same kind of thing as food and drink. So if you want to recover from fights much faster, you can run the food and drink totems, or say that it's health and power totems, alongside your food and drink. And again, if everyone in your group has them, then you will all recover much more quickly from whether it's that your health is low or whether it's that your power is low after a fight. Everything's going to fill up that much faster. It's very well worth it. Speaking of things like that, my trade skill vitality is completely out at this point. If you have trade skill vitality, then you get double XP, even if you don't have very much trade skill vitality left. As soon as you run out, you are getting half the gain in XP as you were if you have 0.5% of your trade skill vitality left. So, to be completely at zero is a shame. It's not necessarily going to stop me from crafting, because any amount is better than no amount, and I definitely have a long way to go on my crafting levels. Nonetheless, it's ideal to craft when you have a little bit of vitality. Same with adventuring, of course. Let's see what my adventuring is at. 15.6% adventure vitality, so I'm fairly low in my vitality for both adventuring and crafting, but oh well, what can you do? I could log into one of my other characters and work on them instead of working on Kipoerneke, but I'm okay with it. It's alright with me if I get 0%. Well, not 0%. I wouldn't craft for 0%. That's a fallacy, but I would certainly craft for half the XP as what I would get with vitality. Because why not? Now, earlier, after I got in, but before I started streaming for the day, Dwibbleduff gave me a new weapon. It is a steel dagger. Now, I already had imbued steel spears. The advantage to the dagger is that I have an AA line over here. No, there. And one of the spells lets me go invis. It's another way to turn invis during combat quickly, but it requires that you have a dagger equipped in your primary slot to be able to use that spell or ability. That'll be really useful. The recast on it is 30 seconds. Casting time is 0.5 seconds. My other one that I use in combat regularly is Stay Low, which is, again, casting time of, I want to say 0.5 seconds. Nope, 1 second for it. And its recast is 1 minute. So this boot dagger is better in that I can cast it faster and recast it more often. And so I could cast, I say if I cast boot dagger, then I cast my my attack that I need to be stealthed for. Then I could cast let's see, if I started with Stay Low, then I cast boot dagger after that, because the cooldown on this is every 10 seconds. I can recast this, but I can only cast it if I'm invis. So it's one of those things where this is one of the ones that stuns the target, throws him back, all that, and so that can be very helpful as a scout when you're running around and you're trying to get behind them, when you're trying to get in front of them, and so I thought that was a pretty good choice for this character's AA. Anyway, you have to have a dagger equipped to make use of that spell, and so he made me a dagger for that purpose. It looks like I haven't made Maddening Throw spell, Apprentice War spell before, so I will get some extra XP for making this for the first time. I also see that Dwibbleduff completed a writ, so congrats him for sure. It seems like it's a night for crafting. Everybody seems to be, everybody in the guild, that is, seems to be kind of working on that tonight. I was trying to remember the name of Quo's quest on the Isle of Mara the other day, and for some reason I absolutely could not remember it for the longest time, and then today it finally came to me. It's a gathering obsession, which of course goes right along with quest. It's ridiculous that I didn't think of it, but well. Slowly but surely these things are coming back to me. In fact, I can almost remember. Ah, yes, I got it. Sundered Frontier. Sundered Frontier was the zone I was thinking of. That I kind of felt like was the beginning for me of the downhill slide of the game's trajectory in general. It wasn't bad yet. There was still quite a bit to do, and it wasn't just, you know, the pure grind all the time that it turned into later on live, but it certainly was not, I don't know, let's say it was more grindy, I guess, than the previous segment of game had been. And it was the first time that I really kind of was like, I don't know about this. I thought that the stuff with the Great Divide was pretty decent. I thought that was done pretty well. It still had interesting storyline going on. It had some cool features, and it wasn't it wasn't 100% all the grind all the time. So there was still a lot of really interesting elements at that point. I've managed to knock that bar down to only 3. Let's see if I can manage to save it. Looks good. Came back from the brink of death on that one. I haven't figured out yet how to see who all is in the channel at any given time. I can see how many viewers are currently watching. I think that's what this is. But I don't know how to see like the names of the people who are watching and things like that. I think that would be pretty cool. And I know there is a way to do it because I've heard other Twitch people be like, you know, greeting people by name as they come onto the channel, and I think, huh, that's interesting. I would like to be able to do that, but so far I haven't figured it out. It could be partially because I have my phone as my chat view for Twitch while I have the game running on my computer. Don't have a second monitor at this time, so that's kind of the workaround that I have going on. And maybe the app is just not as informative for the streamer as the full screen website would be. But that's just a guess on my part, so. Now I have one more combine to make, and then I'll be finished with this work order. And I'll head out to turn that in at the crafting area, but on my way there, I've got to try to remember, first of all, to check the guild depot to see if there is a level 31 trade skill jeweler book in there. And then I need to go out to the crafting trainer in Willowwood and see, well, not see, but grab the level 31 regular jeweler book from him before I hop in to turn this writ in, pick up the next writ. Hopefully I'll remember to do all that. We'll see. Alright. This is moving in the right direction. I almost forgot, but all is well. I did not. Okay, so there is not a level 31 jeweler spell of the advanced variety in here. So I'll head out, grab the regular book from the crafting trainer, and then go into the crafting instance to see what I can do about turning this in, picking up the next writ, and finding out what the price is on the broker for an advanced jeweler 31. Now we will grab this one off this merchant, and I'm going to examine it to see what's in here. It's all scout spells, so we've got Arrow, Flurry, Apprentice War, Avoid Attention, Baffle Adversaries, Blade Frenzy, Lucky Boon, and Minstrel's Fortune that I will now be able to make into Apprentice Wars if I so choose. I'll scribe that book and then pop on into here. So far, so good. Alright. Gonna turn in this work order and pick up the next one. That way, it will reserve this slot in my bags instead of me accidentally filling the bag, the journal that is, filling the journal completely up. with other quests and then not being able to pick up a writ later. That would, when that happens, it's not great to have to figure out what to delete. I'd rather just not pick up a quest than have to delete it later in order to get a writ. So, number 31. Okay, that's very cheap, so I will go ahead and grab it. And now I can make Adept 4 spells of all of the aforementioned scout. I say spells, they're really combat abilities, but I don't think that we necessarily need to split hairs about it. So we'll call that good enough of a
No, I haven't got to fools or wicked.
of a description. Of course, it definitely makes a difference, because if they were spells, well then, I would have a lot more use for intelligence. Well, let's see how I am sitting on my dark brown coal. So I have 12 in that stack. Okay, this is dull black, so that's for the tier previous. Oh man, yeah. My dark brown coal situation is abysmal. So, I suppose that means a couple of things. First of all, I need to throw my dull black coal into the bank for now, I think, since we do not yet have a fuel depot in the house. And then I better go buy some more dark brown coal so that I can make the tier 4 recipes.
Please tell me you're not trying to get a loan with livestock collateral.
So I will just dump all of these into this bank, which I have other fuel in right now. And then I'll sort my bags so that everything kind of goes together that needs to go together. And then I'll go hop into the trade skill instance over here and buy some dark brown coal. I think I'll get a total of 5 stacks because that seems to work pretty well typically. So we need dark brown coal. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And now we should be all set for a little while on that. I'll head back up to the shop, that's not the shop. I'll head back up to the guild house. And that way I will be prepared to do another writ in the morning. Because I think that it being 12:30 in the morning, I probably ought to get off for the night. Yeah. Seems like the best plan. And then I will see you all in the morning, and we can continue with Kipoerneke's adventures in EverQuest 2. If you are not already following me, be sure to do that, and that way you can turn on notifications and find out when I'll be live. For now, I will say good night, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.